back to the Eastern Plains of Colorado here on McCaffrey Farms. Let's get to the video. But first, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Be sure to drop a like on the video. And be sure to ring the bell icon. That'll notify you when I post videos on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So let's get to it. Just hooked up to the sweep. Dad and I got it greased up. We're gonna head over to this circle. We actually just got done subsoiling it just this afternoon, not too terribly long ago. So if you want to watch that video, there'll be a card in the top right corner. Go check that out. But we're gonna work this. We're gonna have to hook up to our sweep anyways to go do that quarter section just east of the house. It's getting pretty green and we need to get it worked. So while we did that, we were gonna hook up to the sweep and smooth this out and have it ready for whatever we do next. Good morning, welcome back. Gonna keep working on this circle with the sweep. Gonna fold it up, put some fuel in it, and then we'll try and finish this circle. And once we get that done, gonna move east a little ways and then do that quarter section that's pretty weedy. Don't know if we'll quite get it all done today because I still got a little bit on this first half, the whole second half of this circle, and then that'll take a little while. So see how much we can get done today. So let's go put some fuel in it and get back to work. Filled up with diesel, just getting on the road. I could have just went to the field through there, but everything's a little bit narrow and it kind of makes the sweep flex a little weird and funky. Where I need to go in the field is closer to the road anyways, and I'll be able to get off there into the field. So that's how I'm gonna do it. That way it doesn't take quite as long and I'm not having to go over the turn rows a whole bunch. Gonna head down there just right where the circle meets the road. I'll pull off there, unfold, and we'll get back to farming. slits in the ground. That way the wind can't get way down in them. That would really dry the soil out, and it probably just wouldn't be good for it. So that's why we're doing it, because here in a few weeks, hopefully we'll be planting some hay grazer into this, and then we'll start watering it, and hopefully be able to get 2 cuts out of it. But here towards the end of April, start of May, I think is when Dad's trying to plan on planting this to the hay grazer. So we'll just have to go and see what happens. This should be enough to cover us until then. There shouldn't really be any weeds to grow up through it, and if there is, they'll be pretty small, and the drill will take them out since we have a hoe drill. But right now that's what we're doing on this one, just smoothing it out and closing up these slits in the ground that were left by the subsoiler, and hopefully it'll leave a good seed bed for this hay grazer. So on this half, I'm actually going to work from the shortest row back to the middle, because our sprinkler still isn't out of the way. We thought it would be moved out of the way enough last night, but I guess there was a fuse that ended up burning out, and so it's not quite out of the way yet, and it's still quite a ways from the angle I would take to pass or miss it and then come back. So what I'm gonna do, I think Dad's gonna head over to Kirk and see if he can't find a fuse for it. What I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna head down to this far side where the runs will be real short and then get longer, and work back that way, and then maybe by the time I get to where I'll be back to the sprinkler, Dad will be back and have it moving, and then I'll be able to finish this field up. I think this is gonna end up being my last pass for a little bit. Kirk didn't end up having the fuse, so Dad had to go to Yuma. It's a little farther away, not too terribly far, but there's a quality irrigation there. So they should have the fuse, hopefully. I haven't heard back from him. He should already be there. It was a while ago. But this is gonna end up being my last pass for a little bit. I think I'll have enough room to turn around still and head back this way, but I'm getting back to the sprinkler. After I get this down and back done, I only have 10 more passes. That's what the auto steer's showing, so won't be too much, because even if Dad did get back right now and put that fuse in, still have to wait a little bit for the sprinkler to move out of the way. But for now, I have to quit on this field once I get back to the other side, while we wait to get the sprinkler out of the way. I'm getting ready to head over to the field and take over for Dad for a little bit. I've been working on stuff for homework, because I'm going to go up to Laramie tomorrow, take a few things with Michael, and come back. So Dad's been doing that while I get my stuff done, but he needs to go feed and check cows. So I'm going to head over there. We did get the circle. We got that finished up. Found out that there was a bad connector on one of the towers. That's why I kept blowing the fuse. But that's good for now, until we need to work it again or whatever we do next. Dad's got most of that quarter done, so I'm going to go over there. I'll probably be able to finish it up, but then after that we're going to hook back up to the subsoiler, and that part on the south circle, the dry land part on the north half that we fenced off and put cows on, we're going to subsoil that, just since it'll be a lot more packed. The chisel probably won't do quite as good of a job, so I'm going to head over there and take over for him. Done than I thought he would. Just have this real little corner. It's 5:40 right now, so it won't take me too terribly long. All I'll have to do is the turn rows on the north side, and then the turn rows on the west side, and then from there we'll be done. He said he got everything on the other half, but yeah, this won't take too long, so I'll wrap this up. I talked to Dad, where it's supposed to still be pretty windy the next day or two. Probably won't hook up to the subsoiler yet, but eventually we will, and we'll go down and do that. So for right now, we're going to finish this up and call it good. But right now, with sweeping, this is kind of how fast we normally go. Full throttle, 10th gear. It ends up out being about 6 to 6.5 mile an hour when it pulls easy like this. It's already been swept once, so it's pulling a lot easier than if it was being worked for the first time. So that's why we're being able to go in 10th. Most times when it's harder, hasn't been worked yet, we only get to go in 9th, which is closer to 5 to 5.5-ish. So pretty decent. Auto steer's been working good. This has been needed because as you can tell, it's pretty green, and this should do a really good job because it's all still fairly small and it will be easier to kill. I kind of have that tire riding all the way right to the edge of the gravel. Sometimes it might be slightly on the gravel, but the reason we're doing this is there's not really much of a ditch on both sides of this field along the road, so we're going over as far as we can to make sure we get all the weeds, just in that way there's that many less weeds that can still grow out into the field and spread into the field if there's something that we don't want growing that's worse than just a normal kochia weed or cheatgrass. So that's why I'm going that close to the road. Just try and get every weed that we can and kill everything and leave it that much cleaner. Field looks a lot nicer now. Like I said, it wasn't bad, it wasn't very tall, but there's getting to be a lot of green, so we needed to be doing this. It was already kind of green before we got the last few rains and snows, so there was a lot more moisture and it really made everything shoot up. This should work pretty dang good because, like I said, it's still pretty small. Everything's still very small, it's not real big, and when it's smaller, it's a lot easier to kill, so it's leaving a pretty nice finish. There's still a bunch of moisture. Yes, we are making a lot of dust, but there is still quite a bit of moisture that's been bringing up, so that's good to see. I think for now the plan is to plant this to hay grazer. We don't know yet. If not, we'll wait till September, plant it to wheat. Looks a lot better now that we got this done, and unless we get a bunch more rain, it should last a decent while before we need to come back and do it again. But as you can see, this was the little patch that I ripped earlier in the video before this, but we tore that out because that used to be we used to use that for when we'd rent our neighbors' corn circles, but we haven't been doing that for the last 2 years, so we haven't been needing it to run cows out there and let them water. So what we did, we ripped that up. We're gonna start farming it. It's not a whole lot of extra, but it's kind of gotten annoying to farm around. And then this way, if we ever want to, that'll allow us to plant triticale or wheat or something on this border, and then we will have that waterer in there still, and so we'll be able to fence this whole thing off and run cows on it and still be able to get them water without having to haul it. So it's kind of a win-win, and we get a little bit more farm ground. The field looks a lot nicer now. Like I said, it wasn't bad, it wasn't very tall, but there's getting to be a lot of green, so we needed to be doing this. It was already kind of green before we got the last few rains and snows, so there was a lot more moisture and it really made everything shoot up. This should work pretty dang good because, like I said, it's still pretty small. Everything's still very small, it's not real big, and when it's smaller, it's a lot easier to kill, so it's leaving a pretty nice finish. There's still a bunch of moisture. Yes, we are making a lot of dust, but there is still quite a bit of moisture that's been bringing up, so that's good to see. I think for now the plan is to plant this to hay grazer. We don't know yet. If not, we'll wait till September, plant it to wheat. Looks a lot better now that we got this done, and unless we get a bunch more rain, it should last a decent while before we need to come back and do it again. But once I get this done, I'm about back to the corner. Once I get back there, before I fold it up and take it back home, I'm gonna use that, I don't know if you can see it, but there's an orange scraper there. I'm gonna use that, clean all 7 blades off, and then fold up and head back to the house. Just in that way, afterwards, when we go to use it next, this dirt isn't all hardened, and when that happens, it gets a lot harder to get it off. But when you get too much dirt on the blades, the dirt doesn't want to flow right over the blades, and it leaves some pretty dang good trenches that make it very rough. So that's why you want to clean them off every once in a while. We just try and do it each time we get done with the field, if it's a bigger field, and then that seems to work pretty good for us. For this video, like I said, we were going to hook the subsoiler up, but it's still supposed to be pretty windy tomorrow, so we're not going to do that. Probably do it Sunday or Monday, depending on how things go. But if you're still watching, be sure to drop a like on the video. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe if you're not already, and be sure to hit that bell icon. That'll notify you when I post my videos on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.